Hi, everybody. This is Allison from Creations. How is everybody doing tonight? Halloween, Samhain, as a lot of people mispronounce, is coming up in a few days. And throughout my awakening journey, there's a lot of stuff I already knew and a lot of stuff that I wasn't sure of because they didn't have the document or evidence paper-wise. But as the last couple of years have been unfolding, a lot of information came into my lap that made me question everything. Everything. Now, for all those who have teenagers and have young children who are very into Halloween and the occult, and it's fun. That's how I was when I was a little kid. We played with the Ouija board. We dabbled in things that we weren't supposed to because we didn't really believe that these things could manifest. But in fact, they do. And the last couple of Halloweens, I've been very on board with telling people to please not play with things they're unaware of that have dire consequences, because a lot of the movies that have been out, almost all of them, but I'm going to concentrate on a few tonight, pretty much told you what was going to happen, and in reality, not necessarily that it was a fictitious movie or there was things in there that was out of this realm, CGI kind of nonsense. But a lot of the things that we watch are programming. Tell a lie vision. Movies are the same. A lot of things tonight that I'm going to discuss, I have to sort of try to code. So bear with me, because a lot of these topics are banned and censored from a lot of different platforms. So I know as a child, teenager growing up, I used to love horror films, love gore, guts, and crazy demonic things, without my knowing that I had a demonic attachment and evil things following me my whole life. And this actually stemmed from my birth mother, who it stemmed from her life. She had negative attachments to her, and it somehow crossed over to me, and the cycle ends with me. My ancestry ties, all of it ends with my generation, me. It's just me. That's it. It's done. And when we look into the pagan aspects of Halloween, it is not the Americanized version that you would get here in America. Because in paganism, depending upon what you practice, and it's a blanketed term because there's a lot of different factions, to say the least, in all these religions or faiths or whatever have you. I have a lot of fun maps that I'm gonna whip out at some point tonight, but one of them had a large poster, and I really need a frame. But this goodie is from the deepstatemappingproject.com. And the creator has created a lot of maps. And a lot of these maps are how a lot of people get things decoded. This one is pretty accurate. If not, it is accurate. Go check his website out. It's incredible. There's a lot of goodies on there. And I urge you to go look at that. So in a lot of my videos, I'm talking about the ascension. I'm talking about clairvoyance and being an empath and grounding. But there's a reason why tonight I want to focus on The Matrix. Not the movie, because I told you that was a documentary that is absolutely based on what's going on in our world right now. But what kind of led us to this? And it's the people who are making and creating these movies. It's the people who are performing, not all. And again, I'm not attacking everybody in Hollywood. I am not attacking everybody that's behind the scenes that are the film crew, the stuntmen, the people who are serving beverage and drinks. Like, I'm not attacking those people. There are plenty of good people in every place, in every construct of work life that there is. But there's a lot of people who have been influenced by negative things. Now, they can be from the demonic realm, or they can be from the extraterrestrial realm. And sometimes they both cross into each other. There's a reason why. But those reasons I can't share. Not because I don't want to say it, because I'll get banned for it. Until things get better. And they are. So the first movie / video game I would like to discuss tonight is Resident Evil. Why? It's not necessarily a horror film, but it's not necessarily a sci-fi film. It's not something I grew up with, even though the video games came out first, I believe. But it sticks out with the most predictive programming that there is. What is predictive programming? If you take a look at The Simpsons cartoon has shown us a lot of tidbits and nuggets of things that have happened way before they did. So an episode of something happening in 1994 in this a Simpsons episode is now occurring now. Why? Because they have to tell you, it's a satanic ritual law. They have to tell you that's their karma. It doesn't matter how they tell you or show you, they have to tell you before it happens what they're up to. So it's no surprise that everything going on in our paradigm right now has been already seen before. World War Z, V for Vendetta. Those are two very interesting movies that are showing what's going on right now. Mm-hmm. Resident Evil. Now, in my research, 2 years ago, heard about the super soldier program, the SSP. Now, I had zero clue that it was real. It was like, you know, a lot of things that were hidden from us from Area 51 and the Grenada treaties that Eisenhower did not sign, Majestic 12 did, to Valiant Thor. These are all things that really did occur. The SSP has been a huge eye-opening experience for me because a lot of it took place in my childhood. And a lot of the people now coming out are the people who are around my age. And one of that, well, two that go into what I'm going to talk about is James Rink and Johann Fritz. They are both super soldiers that had a lot of traumatic and traumatizing experiences that they are now recalling. Remember the movie Total Recall? Because that's also soft disclosure, because that actually is happening now. So is the Terminator. But I'm going to do sci-fi another day, I promise, because this is going to get juicy. So they did a 3-hour YouTube interview with some people, and they called it Project Omega. But within Project Omega, they talked about the Umbrella Corporation. Now, a video game person and a movie buff wouldn't associate that being a real corporation. It was just seen in a movie with the umbrella emblem, logo, whatever you want to call it, out there. But in fact, it's a real corporation. The problem is, it's not of this dimension. It's in a pocket universe, but they can come here. So funny fact, back in the day, I used to watch talk shows, and Richard Bay was one of those shows, and I could not remember his name for the life of me for 3 years until it just something snapped in it, oh, Richard Bay. He's not a good person. Not at all. He works for Umbrella. What does Umbrella do? What is the movie? It's telling you. What does the movie tell you about Umbrella Corp? The T-virus. Zombies. Military installations. Controlled government. Communism. Totalitarianism. But what else is in there? Alice. What's Alice? Alice is AI. I don't know if Alice was switched over to good, but in this film and in the video game, Alice is evil. It's a hive mind. That's how the Nebu and the Seekar were able to control just about all of the population of the planet Earth, by the way. Within this movie, we see things like creatures, scary things that actually exist, but we have not seen. Only certain Earth Alliance members have got to see some of these experiments. I'm hoping that's fireworks and not shotgun blasts. Either way. Project Lovecraft. Fireworks. Project Lovecraft. Transhumanism. These are some of the things that are in these movies and video games. Experimentation of the human genome. Crossbreeding. These things exist. Under the Super Soldier program, they had the Hulk program. You can only imagine what that really is. But you can find out more on supersoldiertalk.org or .com. It also ventures into BOW. And for reasons of keeping this up, it's genetically altered organisms created with intent of being either as a military or paramilitary operation. You can look that up too. Ladies and gentlemen, FB was made by these people, not by Zuckerbucks. Now that it's called, what is it? Metaverse. DARPA. They created. They also have a part in this movie as well, but I can't go into that either. A lot of things that I dig into are what are assumed as Alice in Wonderland, that you have to go down a hole of some sort and do a lot of digging and searching. But this video game and movie ties into a lot of this stuff that I hope comes to surface, because people need to realize the things that they're watching is actually happening in real time and has been happening in real time. It is a real horror movie. That's right, I said it, it's real. Alice is real. Might not have a child's voice, but that AI is absolutely 100% real. The hive mind is real. Why do you think everybody's obsessed with television and shows? I was once. What do you think about the hertz and the frequency they're projecting into your mind? That's also MK Ultra. And it's also exposing you to DUMBS. So look that up. Resident Evil is definitely happening. It's good to look back, because it might save you one day from knowing what to do in a real situation. Took a lot of notes, by the way. Second movie, Hellraiser. I would love to quote, because that's one of my favorite series of movies. But this is actually, I have a lot of notes on this one. Very interesting. Clive Barker. Occultist. The Box. The Cube. I mean, the first movie, it's a man being torn apart by demons, Cenobites. Uses lots of blood to activate the layers of hell, the dimensions of hell, the principalities of Cenobites. The box is dimensions. It's a laminate configuration. It was created by the architect, a mass murderer, and all around Philip Le Chamand. He's French. Leviathan, diamond-shaped deity controlling the Cenobites. He's a principality of Now, this is something that a lot of people need to understand. What I'm about to read to you is what our temporal war is all about, for the most part. But it also brings in the Canaanites, like Hannibal Lecter. The Midianites of the Bible are the descendants of Midian, son of Abraham and of Keturah, and were worshippers of Baal and the goddess Asherah, queen of heaven. I hope people understand. An evil church is partnering with an organization for women. Why? It has nothing to do about your choice. It really doesn't. It's about the ritual they perform when a certain act is done for a woman. It's true. So a lot of people who are on one side of a political spectrum that might be very Christian or Catholic always preach this pro side, and then there's another side that, but the problem is it's not about the choice or that. It's about how, why, who is involved behind the scenes that they're not telling you about. And once I learned this, I understood why there's such division amongst people on the political spectrum with this topic. It's a ritual. Just like the Cenobites. But the Cenobite is a race of extra dimensional creatures. They're mutilated. They're obsessed with Sado and blood. Torture. And in today's world, it is slowly showing you RA. Calling of souls, calling of the principalities of darkness, psychological warfare, telling you there are dimensions and densities through the box. The cube itself signifies Saturn. No, Saturn, the planet, is not evil. Sometimes it is, depending where it is in the charts and where is it aspected in. But there are things that inhabit that planet that are evil. No more. They're all gone. Bye, evil. Gotta send evil love because they don't like it. But this movie is showing you and desensitizing you to that stuff. Most horror movies are to desensitize you to death. Is that normal? I've seen people die in front of me. I've seen my mother die in front of me. And I'm going to say this, I'm desensitized, but on a spiritual level, because I know on a metaphysical level what goes on and how it goes on and what the process is. A lot of people don't, and they're frightened. But this in itself desensitizes people to death and pain. Because you're not experiencing it, you're just watching it. So that was Hellraiser. Next movie, A Nightmare on Elm Street. I personally love Freddy. Loved the movie growing up, obsessed. Huge fan. Huge fan. Love Freddy. This brings up something I wasn't aware about, but somebody with the initials JQ brought to my attention through talking about cloning and the Bridge 1 and Bridge 2. And I have to say this. It's real. They clone animals. They clone humans. They've been doing it for a very long time. Whether you want to believe in that or not, that's up to you to decide. But you're going to see very soon what you're actually seeing in the world right now, and the people you think are alive are actual. They supposedly shut the bridge project down. I don't know about that. But A Nightmare on Elm Street, besides being very gory, is a story of a molesting child who got slaughtered by a bunch of parents in a boiler room. And the next generation of children growing up to be teenagers can't fall asleep because this entity is appearing in their dreams and they're dying for real in real life. And if they fall asleep, they basically get killed off. Okay. But what they don't tell you is that this is a deep dive into REM-driven human cloning, or Mach 1 or REM clones. And in one of the movies, it kind of shows you that they're in a sleeping institute, a few of them actually, but one in particular shows you that they're in an institution where they're being controlled. So REM sleep, they press something in the center, and the person that's asleep in bed, different location from the person consciousness, is transferred, and the person opens up their eyes in the center. And that's a REM-driven clone version of themselves. Donald Marshall spoke about this. Very interesting. but it talks about MK Ultra. Soul stealing tech. Because in order to transfer souls into a mock version of yourself, they have to transfer your consciousness, aka soul. Of course, there's demonic overtones. They die in their sleeps. They die in their dreams. They die in real life. This also brings up generational cycles through generations of torture and death being brought up into this. There's a lot of stars that we're going to find out did some very heinous things. And sadly, they've been controlled. And I bet if they weren't, they wouldn't have done it. Britney Spears. Just saying. Again, I would go in more in depth with all of this, but I would like to keep this up. Child's Play. Chucky. Also one of my favorites because it's just a lot of it's funny. But the aspects that it's based off of isn't really funny because Hollywood in general, Bryce from Esoteric Atlanta has covered voodoo, and I know a lot of people who have practiced in their lives that whether it be the African version or the Haitian Creole version of voodoo, and there's a bunch of other versions of it, just like all other religions, there's subsections. Voodoo isn't a bad thing. Sorry to disappoint those out there that think voodoo is demonic. It is absolutely not. It is of the light. And with any religion, it's what you intend, what your intentions are towards it and how you use it. I mean, come on, people. There was Magi. What was Daniel? What was Ezekiel? Prophets? Or channelers? What was Moses? What was Yeshua? No different for what I do. Think about it. So voodoo is a good thing, but in this movie it's depicted as, of course, everything is inverted and blamed on this religion. It's a beautiful religion. Soul swapping, possession, especially of children. It also reminds me of the Black Eye Club. Can't mention that on there, but it's a parasitic thing that is inserted into a person that gives them a black eye that takes over their soul and consciousness and body. Chucky is over Andy in the toy store saying Adieu Dawi Dambala. It's a chant. It's arcane and forbidden form of voodoo magic to call. It's the sky god, Dambala. And in the movie, it's showing you storm clouds and violent lightning. That would be the Haitian Creole aspect of Dambala. And in their tradition, I want to say, I don't know how correct this is. I have read about voodoo a lot. but their entities and stuff, I only know a few. I'm not well versed in it. Snake God lives in the trees near springs. But what does that remind you of? Remember I said creation stories all begin with little fragments of things from other cultures, and then all of a sudden you get your own little story, but it sounds like everybody else's story. Yep. So Chucky is showing us in a very sneaky way soul swapping. And won't you believe that that happens in making a carbon copy of yourself? Did you see that video? I wish I can share my ringtone, but I can't. Next movie, A Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We all know that this movie is based off Ed Gein. We all know it, right? We all know that this movie is based off of a real person who and war people, right? Okay. Not the Rob Zombie version. I'm very indifferent with him right now because I don't know where he's coming from. I don't know if he's dark. But Ed Gein made accoutrements out of body parts. And he was off the radar. The police, no, I mean, he was in this like Wisconsin little home off the farm, and Texas Chainsaw brings it to Texas, but I mean, his story is rather disgusting, and these things actually occur now, and they've happened off an island that has the name of St. James. This movie also brings into question something that Tarot by Janine and Tamara on Beyond Mystic with Jean-Claude, and very, very devastating. I just about cried when they told their story about past lives and what they had to go through. And I advise everybody to go watch that if you don't believe me. Because not everybody's going to believe a lot of the things I say, but they're going to come out in time. And remember, this channel is to help you kind of get it into your subconscious and conscious and help you through this process, because it's a lot and it's damning information. It's sad. It took me a long time to heal from knowing that this stuff is occurring, and I didn't know about it. Morgan's indifferent, as we see. So, have you ever wondered where the term blood diamond comes from? Why it's on someone's finger? What does that mean? Go look it up. Or go watch that show, because they'll tell you right away. But when we think about Chainsaw Massacre and Ed Gein, we think about what he did to females, especially females, and what he wore on his face that gives him that nickname Leatherface. Now, what you would not think is that coming to fruition in reality, besides Ed Gein being a sick crazo. If you looked at somebody's volleyball with the name of Wilson, what do you think that looks like? And if you translate that image onto a sweatshirt that a former talk show host for, ED, you know it's real. FD is a video that was found on a certain laptop that when the New York City Department saw these videos were never the same again, and a lot of them were killed off. And many of you, your favorite politician, did something very much like Ed Gein to a little person. Necromonicon, anybody? Red Shoe Club, anybody? Gotta leave it at that. I don't know if this will stay up. I don't know how good you guys can see this. I'm not trying to look like a crazy person. Let's start from the bottom. How to do that quick. Keeping David Lewis Monroe. You can find these on the Deep State Mapping Project. I have a lot of his stuff. So a lot of the things that a lot of people call something that came out of the 1960s after JFK was assassinated movement it was a CIA psyoptic word and term. You're going to find out very soon that a lot of that stuff was actually real. Now it's time for you to wake up from your slumber and realize that they've been telling us all along. The 2012 Olympic opening ceremony in London told you everything that happens now. Well, it happened 2 years ago. If you look at patents to things, you could see what name belongs under them and then track that name to the notorious syndicates that are being taken down right now. Today is D433. The world is going to turn on its face very soon. That's why the last show I did, Ragnarok, came out. Because it's going down, baby. Because of the heavy topic, I'm going to hold off on affirmations and mantras tonight. Just going to focus on Oracle. My last night's Oracle for myself came out exactly what was my situation. So I'm going to ask Universe, what's coming from now till Halloween? Soween. So I know that it wasn't that much information, but there's nuggets in what I was saying that you should look up. Where are you? Silly Rune is hiding. Anzus, strongly associated with divine communication. This rune card suggests that you need to pay close attention to messages and advice offered to you, either written or spoken. However, this card goes far deeper than mere external communication and indicates that the true insight you are seeking can only be found by searching within. Learn from and be inspired by the wisdom that external voices or divine signs, such as coincidences, which I don't believe in, offer, but also be a discerning spiritual seeker from the inside out. This meaning doing your research, and forming your own opinions rather than simply accepting all that you are told are presented with by others. Like I said, do your research. Personal and transformation is about being open-minded enough to search for what is true, even if that truth is at times uncomfortable, too comfortable. am. Told you so. Now for my star seeds. This one's for you, but this can apply to everybody. What do we need to know between now and sowing? Again, this is my favorite deck by Rebecca Campbell. And before I read this, the Schumann residence is going to go cray cray. The sun just ejected a CM3 solar flare, an M-class solar flare, and possible an X-class solar flare. All these solar flares are what is in combination might be the solar flash. So just take note that if you're off, you're exhausted, you're not feeling great, you're getting a lot of buzzing, you're getting a lot of downloads, you're getting overwhelmed. The universe is speaking to everybody, trying to get as many people to awaken as possible. So please take care of yourself. The Seas of Minnetonka. Seeing potential, bringing unconsciousness to light. Minnetonka is thought to have been a water-based planet containing the most crystal clear waters you could ever imagine. So clear that you could see for miles and miles underwater. The Seas of Minnetonka card represents this crystalline clarity of potential and possibility. It's about the ability and choice to see the potential in all people and situations. This could be one of your natural traits, or it could be a sign that what you're currently doing has great potential. Minnetonkans are thought to have been a galactic race who saw the light in everything and everyone. And that's what we all need to do now. You may have received this card as confirmation that a situation or project that has extreme potential and will reach fruition. If it appears in a spread, it is a clear, positive sign that things are working out for the highest potential of all involved. It is very uplifting, light-filled, and brings great harmony, contentment, and positive outcomes. How can you see the potential in a situation you're facing? What unconscious patterns are you being called to bring to light? Halloween is harvest time. It's where the veil is thin between dimensions. Halloween, sowing, Thanksgiving time. All of this time is to get the crops sow the land. Say thank you to your ancestors who lived before you, that tended the land before you, who passed on their ancient knowledge to you, because it's all within. It's in your DNA. It's to honor them. What reality is Halloween has become this scare fest, loosh eating holiday for the elite. It's not necessarily about dressing up as someone else and being something really fun and kooky. For them, it's about the dark side of things and what goes on that time. You know the answer to that. And it ends. And I'm not here to debunk anybody's religious or tell you what and what not to do. But we're moving into a new world. And a lot of those things are not going to be accepted anymore. It really isn't. So you can study the dark arts and you can do a lot of things, but those entities are not going to be there to service you anymore because a lot of them are dead and gone. Kimberly Ann Gauguin said Marduk was eliminated. And I mean, the paradigm between Satan and Lucifer, oh my goodness, people are going to learn who Lucifer is. And Satan, they're two different entities. But they've been misrepresented by the powers that be, that no longer control things. It's going timber. I'm going to use this wisdom deck. It's wisdom of the House of Night. Fulfillment. This is a sign that all your needs are being met, that you are close to achieving your goal. I celebrate your choices at this time, for you have drawn this symbol of fulfillment. Now is the time to integrate and digest what you have learned of late. Savor each and every moment and know that every encounter is intended to feed your soul. You are meant to have a rich, satisfying life and taste all the experience has to offer. Look around and recognize all of the ways that your life is already filled and have so many reasons to feel good about yourself. All is well and will be when you choose fulfillment. That was for everybody, not just for me. So talking about the cosmic energies and the things going on, I got a really clear download the other day. It was very, very strong. And I haven't had one of these in a very long time, if ever. And for the purposes of speaking it out and giving it intention, I would like to read it for you because I think it's eye-opening. And I don't know who gave it to me. It could be my spirit team. It could be my star family. It could be anybody, but it's metaphysical. Spirit. Those who are reaching into their cups to fill yours at this time, it is near empty or fulfilling a higher role to the divine. You know what you are, my child. Others question, some don't understand how source works. You were put there to show others to be the Aries rising from the ashes of a depleted life of nonstop struggle. You never faltered. You have shown others how to be strong, but mere few were ever there to hold your cup when the cup goes near dry. If they only knew what you are and the role you will be playing eons from now in the divine universe, those who see the bright light are now starting to see, will lift my divine angel up in her place. Sometimes we come down to challenge not just this divine vehicle, but all those around her. Child, you have been giving to others for so long. Your prayers, energy, charity, and wise advice, we know. Hang on. Wise advice, we know it's difficult on you, dear one, but removing you out of what you call the matrix is the choice we had to make to start preparing humanity for what's to come. The generosity of others are seen. Many of them forget we see all. Source is working through you, my dear, and although it seems you're in the devil's playground, your soul will soon bear the light so bright the cycle of darkness ends for you. I feel it in your heart. You want to come home to us. Some of us know the emotions of a human carries. Like a favorite person you like once said, you have to lose it all to see who is loyal to you. Well, child, the board is rather clear. I know it looks empty, but you got an army behind you. If they only knew. In time, they will know what you are, and the gifts given to our angel will now only be amplified for them as you always give from your heart more than you have those who are close to our angel. We see you. In time, our angel will be on a higher calling, and she will extend herself once her cup is full. We sometimes have to plant a test. Remember, Earth is a school. Our children, you have a lot to do. Rest, because in the days to come, you need to put the armor of God on, and we will see who stands with Source's angel. All is not lost. It's just the beginning of the new. So I know that a lot of things I talked about with the movies tonight, I couldn't really talk and give all my insights on because we're in a time period of this in between where we can say certain things, but we can't say others. We get shut down and censored, and our voices are silenced for speaking what our opinions are on topics. Everybody has a different perception of what reality is, which is fine. A healthy debate is always a good debate. But when you start seeing the patterning the predictive programming, when you start seeing and watching things and out of nowhere, oh, that's what that means. Ooh. There's a lot of terminology I couldn't use tonight. But if you are Alice and you go down the hole, you'll find your answers. And you have to look in different places that you don't ordinarily look, in search engines that you don't ordinarily would use. Because a lot of the information is suppressed. God wins at the end of the day. And we're only watching a movie. Soon, you will all know what really is going on in our world. A very large chunk of us already do. Some of us are just getting our feet wet. Some of us are dipping our toes in. And whichever one you're doing, it's in a positive direction. Because some of this content and some of this information is not for everybody. It's not. It took me a long time to heal from the things that I heard, saw, and felt within my soul. As Halloween is approaching, be mindful to the energy that you give out to the universe. Ground yourself. Stay in the light. Don't buy into all the little tricks. Don't feed into this stuff. Because a lot of it isn't really what you think it is. And Halloween isn't really what a lot of people think it is. Unless you look and read about the origins of it in a paganistic sense. Be aware that our world was inverted a very long time ago and before you were born. So a lot of your books, your texts, your information has all been tainted and has been reverted into evil things. There are very few things that sneak past them. There's some books that have snuck out there. But in time, we're all going to know what it is. You have a choice. Put the armor of God on. Join the light. Reflect the dark. We'll all have a better life very soon. I'm hoping and putting out my intentions to the universe to have abundance, to be able to pay my bills, to be able to put food on my table, to be able to feed my cats. Basics. Basics. That's all I'm asking for is basics. The world is cruel sometimes, but like my channeling said, it's my turn to receive from the universe for all the years of me putting out. But it's a test. And I have been receiving your prayers and your emails, and I really appreciate it. And I love reading your comments. I love all of that. That gives me the best feeling in the world that people are actually watching my content and getting something out of it. And even if you're not, and you're just bored, and you just need something to watch, that's cool too. I'm totally chill with it. But tonight was a deep, coded dive into topics that need to be explored further. Other people have done it. And I don't necessarily want to traumatize all of you. But it's scary stuff. But if you look into it, you can find it. So I might post another video, but I am going to be watching the Truth Marathon by the One Republic Network, but you can find that page, The Truth Marathon, on Facebook. Like, share, and subscribe to that channel, because tomorrow at 10 Eastern, oh boy, it starts and it goes all the way into Halloween. All the way into Halloween. I can't wait to see my favorite Jason. I cannot wait to see my favorite Kelly. I cannot wait to see Carol. I cannot wait to see the man who made these maps is being interviewed. Yes, the man who made these maps is going to be interviewed by my favorite Jason. And if you are interested in expanding your thoughts into flat Earth, because I'm on the fence with this one, because a lot of people that are on a higher dimension than me have spoken about inner Earth with Asgard and Shambhala. And they have spoken about the other continents outside of the ice wall, as was hinted in dun, 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 dun. I mean, I do live in where Westeros was visioned, looking over the Bayonne Bridge. If you looked into that whole book series and show on HBO, yes. Why is there an ice wall and why is there wildings over it? So yeah, soft disclosure, but again, it's in everything. It's in everything. Everything. They tell you. But during the Truth Marathon, Dave Weiss and Sandoz Bernacci are having a 2-hour block. They've never had each other on together before, ever. History is going to be made. And if you're into that topic, that's a must watch. There's no, but if you're in another country and you're watching this and you just happen to like miss that, it's going to be recorded because Kelly's amazing, that you have to catch. So definitely, guys, if you are just getting into this, you're getting your toes wet, there's a whole bunch of topics, a whole bunch of people who are going to talk about everything. Healing, ascension, everything, law, flat earth. Gotta watch. And if it doesn't resonate with you, just turn it off and then put it back on when something else comes on. But seriously, guys, this is for everybody. This is to lift everybody's vibrations up. If you're participating, wear white. It's not Allison's color, because I try to reflect negative energy away from me, and that's why I wear a lot of black. That's why everything around me is gray and black. It's to reflect, not to not take in. But I'm going to shut up now, as Amazing Polly would say. I have to do this. My pride's not there when I do this. But I lost my job. I have not had income in the last 20, today's the 28th days. I don't know how much longer I'm going to last and keep my lights on. I don't ask much. But you can PayPal me, paypal.me at Allykatkreations211, Venmo at Allykatkreations211. If you would like to chit chat with me, You can email me at Allykatkreations211 @gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook at Allykatkreations, but then you can find my private page if you are interested. And Instagram at Allykats with the Z Kreations. I want to wish everybody a very happy and safe holiday if you celebrate. Blessed be if you celebrate Samhain. To all those with little children outside, please be very mindful of where you're going, who you're going to, and be doing it during the day. And right after the kids get out of school, please be super safe. If you are an adult having a fun costume party and going out, please make sure you are protected. You're protecting yourself. You're getting yourself home safely. It is a very fun holiday. I love celebrating it, but I'm being very safe and staying home this year. Please be mindful of everybody. And I'll be back. Sending you all love and light. Enjoy. And make sure if you watch those videos, those movies, take note about what is it actually telling you next time.